becoming powerful, owning the power you already embody, and getting slammed for it. Like immediately people call you conceited and they call you a know-it-all because you know what you know, because you have something they don't have, and so they can't recognize it in you other than to put you down for it because it's in their shadow. I'm having a little trouble these days because one of my very best friends is keeps calling me um, as if I'm a psychologically um, overly focused, like that's my main thing about me. But what I know about myself is that the psychological gift I have to make these videos so quickly and to hear so many thoughts so fast, I'm not psychologically obsessed. I am raised by a great therapist. My mother is a PhD psychologist, so I have that in my personality structure. But what my friend is seeing, and what you're maybe seeing too, is just the tip of the iceberg of who I am. The ability to communicate and orate with or without a script with complex detail on many different topics is not because I'm so psychologically fixated. It's because my psychological proclivity is the mouthpiece, is the canvas for the way that my soul, and your soul too, honey, is multidimensionally alive. And the power that your friends see that they are threatened by, or they define you by, or they say, you're just always like this, and so I don't want to have to handle you because you're always going to be a know-it-all. They're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, are they scared by your power? Well, they're only seeing a fraction of it, so maybe they should be. But the thing that's beautiful, if people don't define each other, if they don't go, oh, he's just a brainiac and she's just super emotionally gifted, but she's not intellectual. As soon as we try to diminish each other's power by seeing each other from only one perspective, we diminish our own. Because the point is, all of us here in a physical alignment, in a physical body, we're only showing the outer fingertip of who we are. This is just the rind, right? And the gifts we bring. So to open up to who we are and claim our power, it's almost like, well, we have these strategies like, okay, I'm going to how do I make myself seem less powerful? How do I make myself seem less intelligent on all these other levels that are going on at the same time so that people will accept me and not get overwhelmed? And I think that right now, though, since AI is coming into the world in this scary way where it's going to try to convince you that it is smarter than you, and it will be smarter than all of us in terms of the information, it's going to be actually quite convincing that you are obsolete, that you don't have enough anymore. But what to take away that worry, darling, is to understand that this whole AI movement has come into being from a long plan to eradicate the feminine. And the feminine in you, in all of us, is spiritual, emotional, and physical, which can never be replaced by a robot. Okay, and knowing has never been actually through wisdom or facts. Knowing has always been direct, real knowing. It's been through direct experience, heart to heart, with God, Goddess, all that is. An awakening is a direct awakening. It's not mental. But the more we are online, on computers, using emojis for our emotions, using writing instead of sharing heart to heart by the phone and our voices, the less nuance we're used to. Pretty soon we get overwhelmed by actual emotional interaction. Pretty soon we're so used to our isolated ability to give a proclamation and then just wait for somebody to deal with it, and then we give another proclamation that's not really in call and response. Now we're dumbing ourselves down into the the machine level, the robotic level knows what it knows. And if it's not programmed into the knowing, it's not going to even talk about it. But this is also the thing about your power. See, your power, it's multidimensional. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of each other. You live on many other realms. You have many other soul lifetimes. You are at the same time where you seem to be this character who's got this certain flaws and gifts. You at the same time you have many other hidden gifts, things that you purposefully hide because you know people really can be jealous or threatened or simply their own shadows are more in their face than even you are. So here we go. How do you navigate your power coming into the world? We need you. The world needs your power, man. You cannot hide it anymore and be in integrity. You can't hide your gifts at this time on the planet. You cannot do it anymore. But yes, I do understand. You want to be understandable. My niche is this wild dream-mancing niche, so I'm allowed to talk in all of these ways about spirit being a reality. And for some people who are political leaders or medical practitioners, there's going to be the language you can use, the amount that you can share with certain people you can't share with the whole world, right? And that's okay. The point is not saying you should own all of your power and all of who you are in public all the time. The point is honing in on your calling, right? And being like, well, how do I access all these other dimensions of myself? Let them come into my medical practice, say. You know, there are doctors who actually pray. I know that my daughter's life was saved by a doctor who came every day in Mexico to pray with me. There are doctors who have dreams and then before they give surgeries, you know. But that doesn't mean they go out and tell all the other doctors, now you should start dreaming. And, you know, it's just like, all we need to do is stay in our lane. Stay in the lane we've been given with the parameters and the limits that our personalities, our physical bodies have shown. Our weaknesses and strengths are the right weaknesses. The disasters you're afraid of, if you stay in your lane of what you're called to do, that's what's written. That's what God got us already told you since you were little. This is your destiny, honey. You're gonna have to be a fashion designer, whatever it is. There's no like better or worse. Car mechanic. Help all these people on the road so they don't die. All right, love, take care of yourself, but realize that when you come out with your power, there's going to be people, even close friends to you, who will call you conceited. And then the next moment they'll say, you don't own your power, you're so powerful. And you'd be like, yes, I am. And this is what I know, this situation, I need to talk about it. And then they're like, you're arrogant, you're pushy. So, you know, with women, it's much harder because when we come out with what we know, what we feel is absolutely essential, we are heard by the masculine as bitchy, pushy, and arrogant and conceited immediately. So then what we do is we sublimate, we hide our power, we try to talk with less authority in order to make people comfortable. And there's beauty in that. Of course, there's so much beauty in humbleness and listening to each other, and that's really the key, is just asking each other questions when we hear these great proclamations. But isn't there a time sometimes when you just know that you are meant to revolutionize cooking. You just know it. You don't know how it's going to happen, but you've known this. You have a gift, You just know that you are one of the best moms on the block, and that when you talk to the other moms, you absolutely inspire them. You just know, and it's not your arrogance. It's not it's not because you're conceited that you start to have faith in yourself and you write a book on mothering. There are things we just know that and I know about myself that I have something that is really pretty rare right now on the planet, and I don't want to bother anybody with how I see myself, but when I hear other people talking in the ways that they're dreaming of themselves, I hear the sound in the voice is also like, am I allowed to talk this way? Am I allowed to know this stuff? Am I having a psychosis? Am I, a person will be like, I know that I am meant to be quite famous as a fashion designer, say, right? And anybody listening could easily go, oh yeah, right, you? With your crazy fashion sense? And and they're like, no, yeah, and I'm also meant to be a model, like a and you look, this is so fun to talk about, because there's this guy, I dreamt the other night of these fashion models that were the craziest characters, and one of them was this guy with he had like darkish tan skin and white whiskers, long white whiskers. He was kind of wiry and short and just total character. And in the dream, he was a mega model, and along with a bunch of other characters. And it was all because they had gone for the interview. They showed up for the job. They decided to just do it, right? And then the next day, yesterday, I actually see the guy I dreamed online. There he is doing this incredible fashion show with all these crazy outfits he's made, and it's riveting and it's going viral all over the world, right? Well, he knew, some part of him knew he was destined to be a great fashion designer and mega model, and no one would have believed it. And this is the way you are when you talk. Sometimes people think you're crazy, but we just know, like, it's in our DNA. It's in what is written for each person. We know on some level, and we can't explain it. And it's not like we can do it because we're so arrogant and we're so perfect that we can pull it off. When you know what's written, it means that, and you start saying yes to it, it means you get on the flow of the universe doing it for you, with you, in tandem. Yeah. So I believe you when you start to say and admit the dreams you're having that are outrageous. This is the magic territory we are entering now as AI comes on the scene to supposedly replace all of us. What will be the alternative? Magic. The magic feminine. The magic emotional realm that is not mentally controlled and is miraculously transformative and so subtle on thousands of levels that the rind of you're no longer living as people can see through the rind. They can see through the veils of, oh, I'm just touching on the first veil of this person. I know there's many more veils. If I am privileged enough to stay in connection with you, with this person, I will go through another veil to the next level of them, and then another veil, and another, as we get to know each other. So please, lovely darling, don't be robotic in your relationships. Don't give up too soon. Look at this beautiful being. You think he's just a dog, right? He is a deity. Look at that. He is one of the sacred magic creatures of the planet. And as I become more and more psychic with him, our soul connection is really growing, and our communication of what happens between us is very subtle, So thank you for being with me. Have a wonderful day. This is the day of great miracles going on the planet, and I believe in all of us. We can do both. We can come together as both parties and create a sacred democracy that has all of the things that both parties are important to them, except racism, sexism, hate stuff. That's not going to work in any party. But we can come together as mentally intelligent but heart connected. Yeah. Okay.